All right, so I thought I would take a second and address some of the folks that love lambasting me on Instagram for cruelly putting packs on goats and making them carry my shit back into the backcountry. And I always find that so interesting. The only people who would say that are people who've never packed with goats before, because the goats love it. At the trail, and then they always comment, I'm like, well, when I'm cordial about it, is I'll say, well, if you actually saw all the tail wagging and how much they look forward to being loaded up and going out and doing it and watching the goats, like literally I'm super tuned into my animals, and they have just tons of joy with the intrigue of the participation in the process. I think they're naturally an animal that God created for us to work alongside. I think there's some animals that do that super willingly, and other ones that we kind of have to make do those things. And these are animals that love it. It's kind of like sled dogs. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that would sit there and see all those wagging tails and the excitement of them getting going and criticize guys who are running sled dogs. Those animals love to pull those things. I mean, you could tell they just exude joy and all that other stuff. And I think it's cool that animals do that and that they can show that they have grit and some complex emotions. And goats are a very complex animal with legitimate a complexity of some human level emotions, and I say that as being a hunter. I mean, you can see the deer on the wall. I've bow hunted my whole life. I bow hunted the world. I have things like taxidermy. I do that stuff, and I eat meat, and I keep pets and working animals, and I butcher my own animals and I eat them, and all those different things. I mean, you can keep commenting that I'm this cruel-hearted, guy that's making my animals work, and that I'm too lazy to do it myself, and all that other silliness and these knee-jerk comments, and rally your troops around assaulting us and coming after us. And what I can tell you is that because I lead my life as a center core of being kind, being patient, being loving, and being grateful, and deeply connected to God and nature, that our message will always win. And the silliness, the almost naivety, and the knee-jerk, and I don't want to be disrespectful, because people who are passionate about loving animals, I can see how they would think the things that they possibly think about me. What I guess I would ask is if they take the time to actually question the universality, meaning the full surrounding of the attempt to vilify me as this animal cruelty guy. And I don't think that if you truly actually take a look more in depth about how I both approach my food, approach my stock animals, and approach my pets, it would be pretty impossible to call me cruel. That word is so far from my essence that it's silly to even use that word. So I guess to those of you out there that want to spend time trying to attack that, I'll tell you right now, all that stuff just bounces off me, and maybe it makes you feel better to do it. But I can tell you that the faction that believes that utilizing the gift that animals are to us, that are going to eventually be eaten by something, or that are finally understanding. And if you guys don't have, you don't follow on Instagram, Nature is Metal, you should, because Nature is by far the cruelest faction on animals, by far. And that's their natural element. There's nothing kind about starving to death or being eaten by another animal. And that's the eventuality of every living thing, really, kind of other than us and the animals that we're stewards of. So to act like I'm a as a steward of a goat and raising it and having it carry loads and hunting animals and working hard and having reverence for my food and trying to come after me as this, cruel person is just silliness. So anyway, I felt it was worthy to kind of make a video specifically to those folks and to end it rather than just kind of a counterattack. I would just invite you to be curious. I'm curious about you. I'm curious what makes you think that way. I would enjoy sitting down and having a non-passionate, because everything gets eroded. Like when you're trying to talk politics and people who get super passionate and invested in changing the other's mind. But I would be interested in easily have just a curious conversation about where you come from and why, so I can understand you better and realize that the only person who's going to change your mind is yourself. And I would ask that same courtesy, that same grace, to think differently. I know that you feel like you have a duty on behalf of the animals that you're trying to protect, and I actually understand that as well. But if you're one of those people that's doing that and you're doing anything, including being a vegan, meaning you're eating vegetables, you're still destroying life to live. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Agriculture in all its form, even in your own backyard, you're killing life to make your own food. And so for something to live, things have to die. And to wish that weren't true, I get, and I'm actually probably one of those as well. If I could catch and release my steaks, I would. But I need sustenance and I need vegetables, and vegetables kill animals too. And I agree that they're a higher sentient being, and I'm very in touch with the energy of that and where that's held. I think it's way more about how the energy is held within the person and the consumption, their reverence, their consciousness of other consciousnesses and the necessity to be able to sustain life. Things have to die. And the maturity and the settling into that, and then holding yourself accountable to do that really well, is more the conversation that I would like to be in with you. So in the spirit of kindness, grateful, loving, you deserve that energy as well, whether you disagree with me or not. And I'm willing to listen and find your opinion curious and to hear you, which I'm willing to do. But it's really hard when it's just a blatant attack and I just feel attacked. And I don't think we get any growth out of that. And I don't think that works. So I wish you could find another way to talk with me. So anyway, I hope everybody finds that at least helpful in some ways, and that was more for me than anything else. And if you agree, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you like the stuff that I post, click to subscribe and do all that fun stuff. So hope you have an awesome day.